Welcome to Talk is King. That's not the name of this.
We changed it?
We didn't. Take that out.
I think we gotta leave it.
No, I don't think we should. Because what was that?
I don't know, I like it.
No,
It's very us.
Oh, Hey, y'all. Welcome to Conversation is King, where we talk love, faith, and relationships.
Nailed it.
As you can see, we are not in our bed this week.
Not.
We are on a road trip. We are going out of town to celebrate King's birthday, y'all. He is finally catching up with me because I have stopped aging. And so as he ages, he will eventually catch up to me.
And then I get to stop.
I'll think about it.
Oh, okay.
Think about it.
All right.
But this is very nostalgic. As we told you guys before, we met as pro wrestlers. And I know many of you probably don't understand how that works, but in your early part of your career, you're on the roads, traveling to different states, different countries to be in shows. And so you spend a lot of time doing just this, these road trips on the road. And so when he moved to Atlanta, we began to travel together. So we had a lot of time in the car talking, getting to know each other, as that was early on in our relationship. And so this is just really nostalgic to bring you guys along for this, because I can't remember the last time we've been on a road trip. It's been...
Yeah, because I hate road trips. I'm too big for this. Luckily, I have a vehicle that allows me to woosah and have space in here. It's deceptively large in here. But typically, my policy is anything over 3.5 hours, I gotta fly. So it just worked out that we're just at 3 hours, and I'm just like, all right, that's my limit. That's the limit. I normally don't do road trips.
That's true.
But another reason why this is nostalgic for me is because of when we started and how we used to do our little vlog. We used to call it King and Nicole Road Diaries. It's a little show we did on YouTube. And one of my favorite ones was when we were trying to find that hotel gym in St. Louis. And for whatever reason, this hotel was a labyrinth.
It was a maze.
This gym. But it was just a testament of just our story and our growing together and our adventures, our challenges that we faced together. And it was really capturing on video us growing together in our early moments. So I think I'll put a link or something up because I
we
really
should.
Want to share that. That's probably my favorite one now.
Yes, that is early King and Nicole days.
Yeah,
early in our relationship. A lot of fun. Also, another update, we will not be talking about the toxic church today.
Well, why not? I was ready. I had my notes. I had PowerPoints, slides, presentations.
That's
guest
exactly
speakers.
why. That's exactly why. There is no guest speaker. We're in the car alone. But yeah, he's a little too anxious about this. He needs to fast and pray and talk to God about this before you talk to y'all about it.
Anxious is a wild state.
Yes, you are ready. You are foaming at the mouth to have this conversation, and that's not where it needs to come from. That's not where it needs to come
Just
from.
a posture
and
of eagerness to share my story so that others may learn from it. But okay, whatever.
And we're going to talk about it at a later date. So. We're going to let God intervene. Yes, we are. And he will have the glory in the end. But we do have some great conversation for you today. Today, we're going to have our first question and answer episode. We received some great questions that some people wanted us to dive deeper. Some just wanted clarification on different topics. So we're going to flesh that out today. We're going to let that kind of lead the conversation and go from there. Sound good?
For now. To be continued. That's what we'll title this episode. To be continued. Because you got people waiting on that. All 6 of my fans is waiting on this.
All 6?
So
one of them is me.
Okay.
So you ready for the first question?
Let's get into it.
Okay. How did you know I was the one?
So for me, the way God works with me is He communicates with me through confirmation. So He drops a word or a directive, and then I follow in that, and there are a series of confirmations. So throughout our relationship, there have been, especially in the early days, because me even coming to Atlanta, in a nutshell, the story is I met her 2 months later. She came to St. Louis to see me. A month after that, I packed up all my stuff in the back of her car and then in the back of mine and left work one morning and drove to Atlanta. my first time in the state of Georgia was the day that I moved here. So that was a quantum leap for me. That was a huge leap of faith. And obviously it paid off. And there were a million different confirmations along the way that kind of helped me to just know. It was always a sense of knowing. Even when I first laid eyes on you, I knew, right? But to highlight maybe a specific instance where I knew that you were the one, I'm not gonna say that out loud.
Wait, what are you about to say?
I was about to say something crazy. She's gonna take this out of context.
Oh my goodness.
And well, no, I'm not gonna say the crazy thing I was about to say.
Oh, okay.
I've tabled with that. I'm maturing, but
I'm proud of you.
The story I'm about to tell, she's gonna make this a big thing. It's not what she says it is because I'm a thug, right? But after our first date,
oh,
born a thug, been a thug, always will be a thug. But after our first date, it was raining, so we were leaving the hotel. We met halfway between Atlanta and St. Louis in a place called Ripley, Tennessee, and we met halfway. The hotel we were staying at, it was raining as we were leaving. I was putting stuff in the bags.
I don't know why you keep bringing up
the bags in the cars and stuff like that. Being chivalrous, being a gentleman. It was raining. I don't know if I mentioned that. It was pouring actually. Somebody even said gugushi. It was raining, and so my face was wet, right?
Oh.
And so I was just in this moment, in this posture of sorrow, because I wasn't ready to leave her yet, and it appeared to the untrained eye that I may have been crying after our first encounter with each other, after our first date. And that's probably when I knew, because nobody had ever made me feel that way before, to where I would put myself in the position to look like I was crying about that. So.
Y'all want my version of the truth? So how this, yes, we left, and we was like, all right, bye. We hugged, I parked 4 or 5 spots down from where he was. So he dropped me off at my vehicle, put my bags in, I'd sit in the vehicle. I look over at his car, and I just see shoulders.
Okay, all right.
I see this.
So you gonna call me Young Joe? You gonna say I was in her shoulder leaning? Okay.
I mean, the tears, all right? Like, boo-hooing, right? So I'm like, I can't leave this man. Like, he can't drive like that. Like, so I go over to the car, and I'm like, are you okay? He's like, no, I don't want to leave you yet. This is the true cutest part. This man said, I checked my account. I have enough in my account for one more stay in the hotel.
I did say that.
I was like, sir, you are not about to use your last.
I did say that, yeah.
Oh, go home.
That's where I was.
And I told him, I said, I'll see you again. We'll see each other again. And I don't know if he didn't believe that. I'm not, but I was like, we'll see each other again. And I thought that was really sweet. That was really sweet. It was. Fix your face. Now for me, how did I know that he was the one? So after he moved to Atlanta, this was maybe a few months after, the mail came one day. He goes down to the mailbox, he checks the mail, and he comes upstairs with around 3 envelopes. And he's like, hey, sit down, I got something to tell you. And I'm like, okay, like, what's up? He says, I have my credit cards. I went ahead and got 3 cards, in your name, added you to my account. And whatever you want to use these cards on, go for it. Now, this little 19-year-old, young man handing me these 3 credit cards, like, put them in your wallet. You don't even have to ask me to use it. Just swipe them. Just do whatever you want. Go crazy. I got you. I thought that was the absolute cutest thing. Not because of the dollar value of the cards he was giving me, but he trusted me to put a loaded gun to his head and not pull the trigger. I could have messed this man credit up. I could have done all types of stuff. And the fact that he trusted me not to do that showed how serious he was about me, how he viewed me, and how serious it was about our relationship. And that really, really impressed me. That was the day I stopped looking at him as a 19-year-old young man and started looking at him as my potential future. Because I thought that was really, really sweet that he wanted to provide for me. He wanted to show me he was serious about me. And if I'm honest, like I told you before, I was content with dying alone with cats. That's where I was heading. Then he came into my life, and while I allowed him to come into my life and I participated in the relationship, if I'm honest, I was holding back. There was a big guard up. Everything was met with skepticism, side-eyeing him, all of that. And he fought through all that, and he was basically loving me the way he was looking to be loved. Instead of asking for it from me, he showed me what it looked like first. And I felt that was very mature of him. I felt that was very sweet of him. I looked at him differently. And that's when I truly started to be like, this could be it. I would even go a step further to say I didn't even tell him what I really needed or what I was looking for if I was going to be into a relationship. And a man that was a leader, provide, protect, all that stuff was things on that list. And he was knocking down the bowling pins without me even letting him know what was written on the bowling pin that he was knocking down. So this was just him and his genuine energy showing up for me in a way that I needed, that I assumed he didn't know that I needed at that time. I put up a great front. I don't think at this point he even knew I was broken.
It's true.
I don't believe that. So it's not like, oh, every broken woman wants that. To his eye, I was doing just fine. I didn't feel safe enough yet to really let him into that part of me. So this was just how he was. And I was like, wow, if he can have this much insight into how to love me without me even giving him the blueprint, the map, wow. Imagine once I start to let him in, how we can flourish. And that's when I started to feel a little more comfortable with doing so.
Yeah, at that point, I really didn't know where you were mentally and spiritually. I'd actually just automatically pegged you as being way ahead of me. And this isn't a joke, but probably because of the age gap.
Yeah.
And just where you were in life, or where you appeared to be in life, I should say. Yeah, I just thought that I put you on a pedestal. I know I really did. And to an extent, while that one speaks to how I viewed you, it also just shows how really just immature we were in a level of being, emotionally intelligent.
Right.
Because both of us had, I think, blaring examples of how we were not emotionally mature. But yeah, I put you on a pedestal and I put you like in this place. And honestly, I feel like that was kind of unfair because there was expectations and, desires that weren't being met because of really just an unrealistic view of who you actually were, what you were dealing with, and where you were mentally and spiritually and emotionally at the time.
But to be fair, that was the image I portrayed. So that's exactly what I wanted you to see, think, feel.
Sure, but it's unfair.
Me, so.
It was unfair to me because I did not know, how to truly and genuinely handle you the way you need to be handled. I handled you in the way that I saw fit, right? Like with the cards and stuff like that. But I wasn't able to handle you the way you needed to be handled, right? And then it's unfair to you because you weren't getting what you needed to be getting. So
I appreciated the effort,
yeah.
For sure. I appreciated the effort for sure. I knew it was coming from a good place. I knew it was coming from a genuine place. So I was gonna see if I can turn the sound up.
This here?
Oh, you're not into it? Oh, there it is. Oh, those are only two options? Yeah, there's only two options.
Wow.
So the alerts. Yeah, it's the alerts. Okay. So now next question. So this is in reference to the separation. How did you know the marriage was worth saving? And I think this is a really, really important question because how do I say this politically correct?
Don't.
What is the kind way to say this? Every marriage that goes into separation mode may not need to be saved. For instance, if somebody's being abused or mistreated or, just all the wrong
All
things,
the things,
are happening.
yeah.
Right, all the wrong things are happening. No, and I think it's important to highlight that why we felt our marriage was worth saving, and why somebody else's may not be. Not that we condone divorce, or we're like, yay, divorce, or look at divorce as a way to
Escape the hard work. And
right,
yeah.
Right.
It's not an escape.
So we want to talk a little bit about the difference in that. So Mr. King, how did you know that the marriage was worth saving?
Well, let me start by saying this with us, and I didn't necessarily. I won't say I didn't recognize this in that time, but I'll say I didn't acknowledge it during that time. We were separated but never severed, and that's something I will always say and always preface this conversation with. And when I say that, what I mean is, I think both of us were acting and reacting from a place of offense, from places of hurt, from unresolved traumas, from unconversed conversations, right? So a lot of the interaction that we were having, especially from my standpoint, was how do I say this politically correct? It was, we'll just say I was just reacting to things, right? So it was almost like, what's the point? Why talk about it anyway? This, that, the third. However, there was always something there, like, that gut
in your
feeling,
shanana.
right? That's how you would put it. There was always that connection there. That honestly, if I'm truly honest about it, I wouldn't dare sever, because I always knew the value of us together. Even during the separation, I would speak like that, but it would come from a place of anger, because, well, why won't she just get right so that we can be together and be great, right? So how did I know? I think I always knew. Was there a moment? Was that the question? Was there a moment like that? I guess
it's more like, how did you know the marriage was worth saving?
I always knew the marriage was worth saving.
Okay.
It got to the point, though, that I got tired of ignoring the fact that it was worth saving. And again, series of events. It wasn't necessarily one day where I was like, woke up and there it is.
There are no defining moments where you were like,
I mean, it's going to sound corny and cliche, but it is what it is. But one day, during said period, I woke up and decided I was tired of waking up and not being next to you. And I was able to, I had a conversation with someone and talking about being intentional in their relationships. And I came to the realization, well, actually, I didn't come to the realization, I knew this, but I came to the acceptance that I want to be intentional. I just don't want to be intentional about nobody else. I want to wake up happy and fulfilled, but I want to do that next to you. And once I came to the realization that I'm tired of fighting that feeling, I started shifting my mindset and shifting how I moved when it came to you, or when it came to us. That's what it was for me.
Interesting. For me, when I knew the marriage was worth saving, as weird as it might sound, it was how he treated me during the separation. So for me, like, okay, when we were together before the separation, it was bad. Like, we weren't getting along. The communication was not happening. And when we did communicate, it was, you could see there was a lot of hurt and anger behind it. So the tone was off. It was just, we just weren't getting along. Home was not a peaceful place, in the sense of how, you're supposed to come home, it's supposed to be your refuge, your place to woosah. It's like we were coming home, coming to war. And I'm like, this is not how it's supposed to be. So we're in the separation. We're living separately. We will come together when we choose to. I think that's very important to note. Because in a marriage where you live in the same home, because we understand that there's some marriages where people aren't able to, a spouse is deployed, or they just choose not to live together for whatever reason. And you are dealing with someone every day. You're dealing with them on the good days, on the bad days, when you're having personal battles, when you're not feeling well. So it's easy to take it out on the person closest to you. So when we got to this place when we were separated and we only came together when we wanted to, that took that pressure of having to deal with each other when we didn't want to. When we chose to deal with each other, I think that kind of framed the energy of the moment. But one thing I can say is that in the middle of our separation, all through it, that man always respected me. He was always kind to me. He still provided for me. He still took care of me. He still checked in with me. I remember during that period, I had gotten rear-ended by this guy. And it was late in the evening. I had the kids with me. And I believe it was during a time when it would get dark early. So I, picked up the kids from wherever they were and we were heading home. So it was darker outside than it would normally have been at that time. And so the guy rear-ended me. We pull off the road and he starts coming to the, window very aggressively. I don't think it was necessarily aggressive towards me, but I just didn't like the energy, especially being alone with the children. So I don't know why I felt comfortable to do this because we've never discussed like, hey, if this happens, call me. If that happens, call me. I guess it was just understood. So I called Matt and I could tell he was either sleeping or busy. It wasn't like a what, but it was kind of like, what's up? And I'm like, hey, I was rear-ended. I'm just not really feeling the energy of the guy. Can you please just come out here and just be here? And he was like, say no more, I'm on the way.
I was there in less than like 5 minutes. It reminded me of that story we told where we were doing that wrestling show, our first date, our first weekend.
Yeah.
And that dude kissed you, and the way I just flew over the table, and I was just there. It kind of felt that same way. It wasn't like a second guess thing. I can't even remember where I was, what I was doing. I just remember showing up. And I remember pulling up to where I was, and it was in the county where I worked, so I think I knew the cop. And so it was just like, it made that situation that was like very intense, just kind of, I could see just the anxiety melting off her when I pulled up.
Yeah.
Like I said, that was one of the series of events that made me feel like it was worth saving, because just seeing that, just based off of my presence and the way she spoke to me and our interaction during that little, moment in the parking lot when they were doing the police report and all that stuff, it was softer than it had been during that time period. So it was just one of those things that I think kind of grew us, one of those mini moments that kind of grew us a little bit closer.
And I mean, the vehicle didn't even need everything. It was seriously a tap.
Yeah,
there was no claim. It was nothing catastrophic about it, but I just wanted him there. I just wanted him there. And I was like, let me see what happened. And he showed up for me. But if I'm honest, there was never a time in that season where he didn't show up. For me, for our children, no matter how bad things got, he was still consistent in who he was with me. And while I might have not agreed with things he did, such as the barbecue, and preferred something else, the foundation, which is the care, the love, the respect, the provision, the protection, never wavered. It never wavered. That's how I knew that the marriage was worth saving. And I applaud women to look at that. Be mindful of how people treat you when they don't need you the way they might have. Because, again, we were separated. We were living separate lives. He didn't need me, or there was nothing for him to benefit from what he was doing, like in the sense of, I was fine, because that was one of the questions. Hey, is everybody okay? Yeah, everybody's fine. It was a tap. So he knew it wasn't, his children weren't in danger. I wasn't in danger. But just because I asked, he showed up. And that's not the only time where I might have needed him to do something. It might have been something small. Put this together, hang this. Whatever it was never a problem. Took my vehicle to get maintenance. I believe I needed some tires during that period, and you took it and put brand new tires on my vehicle, and he just always showed up for me, and he always treated me well no matter what phase we're in. And it's amazing how people would be nice and accommodating when things good, when you're getting along, when they're getting from you, when you're saying yes to everything, and then they're like, all right, well, since you said yes, I'll do this. But it's amazing how people will treat you when you say no, and you're not giving them what they want, and you're not treating them the way they would want to be treated or given what they would like to receive from you. So for me, that is when I knew the marriage was worth saving, because I could see his character. I can see his character, and if somebody has good character and they genuinely love you, you can figure it out from there.
What do you say to the person who is maybe in that season with their spouse? They know their character because maybe they've been, together for X amount of time. So they know their character, but they aren't getting that energy.
It might not be time yet. For us, we were able to reconcile because we got to the place of trying at the same time. It couldn't have happened before then. I would say to that person, continue to work on yourself. Continue to work on being the best you, so that if and when reconciliation becomes an option, you're at yourself. You're at your best. You're whole. You're healthy, and you're ready to give reconciliation everything you have, because it's a lot of work. Because it's a lot of healing. You have to heal from all the things, from all the things, even things you might not even know you need to apologize for. So it's going to war for sure. So I would say that continue to work on yourself. I'm going to say this too. Do not act out of character. I've heard the phrase, the best way to get over somebody is to get under someone else.
That's the best way to get herpes.
What?
Public service announcement.
Wow.
I'm just saying. We're grown. We can talk about it?
But that was just a lot.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay.
This is Atlanta.
So, do not try
Stay
to...
safe, fellas. And ladies. I'm sorry.
No, you're not. No, you're
This
not. And that is
episode.
exactly... We can't. We cannot, y'all. He needs to lay on the altar before we attempt that episode, period. I know my man, y'all, and I'm going to stick beside him. But I'm also... See, that's why... Let's talk about that. Yes, he is the head, but I'm the neck.
Ooh.
I have control. Anyway, y'all. Be mindful of how people treat you in the bad seasons. And that's what we meant in the early episode. I can't remember which one it was, where we said you have to see people in different seasons. If you only see them when you're saying yes, if you're always saying yes, you haven't really seen them. Because it's easy for people to be cordial and nice and happy and joyful when they're always getting their way. Be mindful of people, how they are when they're not getting their way. Be mindful of people when they're not getting their way. And you have to see them in that defeated state. You have to see them sad, angry, upset. You need to see them to really get to say you know them. So that separation, I believe that's what we gained from it. We were able to see each other in a lot of different seasons, multiple times, and really get to know who we are. And I think coming out of this separation, that's one thing we can truly say. We know each other, and we know each other today. It's one thing to know 2013, Matt and Delenia, but we know 2026, Matt and Delenia, because we went through a lot with 2026, Matt and Delenia.
How do you know when it's time to throw in the towel?
I think that becomes the non-negotiable talk, maybe the non-negotiable conversation.
And what does that mean?
So your non-negotiables are things that you cannot be without. And that could be for one reason or another. And everybody has their own non-negotiables. Now, to figure out what your non-negotiables are, that's because we have our surface level non-negotiables, like I want him to be tall. I don't want him to be fit, muscles. Yeah. No, we're talking about some real things that you cannot be without. And when you're starting to compromise who you are and your morals and your values, your self-respect, things like that, when you have to start compromising those things to have peace in that relationship, that to me, praise the Lord, feels like that is not a healthy relationship for you to be in. Right? When you start having to endure abuse or mistreatment. And that's just the norm. That's just, oh, that when you start saying, well, that's just how he is, sis, no.
Or how she is. Yeah.
No. You know, like, you should not have to endure pain to make your spouse happy or to have peace in your home, or no. And I wouldn't even say that's like unequally yoked. I'm just saying that's just unhealthy. That's just an unhealthy relationship. That's not good for any of you, either of you. What about you? What would you say is a sign that it's time to throw in the towel?
Yeah, when it stops being healthy or continues being toxic, I think there are seasons that people can go through that are quote unquote toxic. But when it continues to be so, or things aren't addressed that are or can be harmful, I think that's when it's time to either take a step back, hit the reset button, or take a step back and create an exit strategy.
One thing our Pastor Daniels, speaks about is when you're going through people when you're evaluating relationships, you have to understand whether someone is a Peter versus a Judas. Peter had a bad day, but Judas had a bad heart. And I guess that comes with discernment as well. So that's just something that comes with maturity. Also, we have to talk about this. You have to make sure it's not coming from a thirsty place.
Ooh, when you say that, what do you mean? When you say it's not coming from a thirsty place, what's not coming from a thirsty place?
Your forgiveness, your choices. Are we gonna talk about this?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's dive in, y'all. So if you
Sorry. I'm gonna stop.
If you are making decisions because I've invested so much time, I don't want to start over. We have a child/children together. I don't think anybody else will want me. I don't want to see somebody else with them. If it's coming from any other place, but this person makes me better and I make them better and we are better together, because time is going to pass whether you change courses or not. You might as well spend the limited time we have, God willing, on this earth being happy. Life is too short to not be happy. So while you may find a level of joy in not being a baby mama, you will find the unhappiness. There will come a point where that's not enough anymore. Them kids gonna grow up, baby. Them kids gonna grow up. You know, and while you might feel like it's gonna pacify you, it gets to a point. It gets to a point, and then guess what? You would have invested more time by that point.
You'll wake up one day and you and Jamarcus been together for 18 years, and you still not fulfilled.
Yeah.
And little Jaquavion going off to college somewhere.
And the time may come where you get enough strength to leave it then. Guess what? You're still starting over. You're still, no. I wouldn't say it's a waste of time, because there's a lesson in everything. And a lot of the things that we've gone through have shaped who we are. So I would never call it a waste of time, but don't let your boyfriend or current situation keep you from your husband.
Don't let your girlfriend or current situation keep you from your wife either.
You know, you over there being loyal to something that's not being loyal and not growing you.
Okay.
Somebody gonna cuss me out in the comments. Praise the Lord. That's all right.
It's gonna be me.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the honest truth. You have to really understand the root of your why. Understand the root of your why. And if it's your why is coming from an unhealthy place, it's just not gonna hit the way you think it's gonna hit. It's just not. And that's just a sad reality. It's a sad reality.
Can you help somebody figure out their why when it comes to the relationship? When it comes to, let's say you're in a healthier, more emotionally mature place and you see your partner, your spouse lacking, can you help that person get to that level? Or is that something that they have to go through and attain on their own? Or can somebody be sparked or motivated or encouraged by the person they say they love?
And are you asking to figure out their why or to rise to the level of your why?
Maybe both. But first, I think you have to figure out their why. They would have to figure out their why, because you can't. I mean, without a why, you're not, you're not locked into your purpose. So, in that situation, so how do you help somebody reach that or attain that?
I don't know. Within the confines of a relationship, I don't know if you could actually do that, because there are trained professionals, like life coaches, things like that, that are trained to help people discover those things. So I don't know. And especially if you're having a conversation like that, it kind of makes me feel like y'all are not as interlocked as you want to be. I mean, if you're having a conversation like that, so that makes me feel like maybe they won't feel as safe to have that honesty with themselves in front of you.
Maybe they don't know that they need to have that level of honesty with themselves.
Fair.
Because I feel like some people honestly don't know that maybe they need to elevate in some way. And possibly we're purposed or put into other people's lives or our spouses' lives to help them reach that level. We hear people talk about leveling up they spouse or they girl or they wife, whatever, and the glow up. How do you attain that if not with somebody who can help you reach that? Isn't that what being equally yoked is? Isn't that what, being with the right person is? You want to be with somebody who can help you elevate your game, right? But you have to be open to that, which is why I asked, how do you have that conversation with somebody to say, hey, I see the potential in you. I see it's time for you to elevate your game. Now it's time for you to lock in.
I think that would absolutely need to be communicated with the sandwich method.
Yeah.
Start with the positives, sneak in the critiques in the middle, and then, come around with that, end with compliments to show, like, this is what I see in you. I see the greatness in you. I see who you can be. But this seems like it could be in the way. Do you want to discuss that? I would like to dive into that. And hopefully they're
receptive.
Yeah,
you have to be receptive of that. Yeah, you can't come from a place of offense.
That's important to understand your why, because I believe knowing your why then becomes figuring out what you need in the relationship. So, and as the partner in the relationship, you absolutely need to know that. So you have to have that conversation. I'm just not 100% sure that your spouse is the appropriate person to have that. I don't know.
It depends. I think that your spouse is an appropriate person to start the conversation. What are spouses for? You're not just supposed to be something pretty on my arm. You're supposed to be something that speaks to me, my helpmate. You're supposed to be encouraging me. And if you see something that is hindering my growth and my success, I would expect, the expectation is that you sit me down in a calm and collected tone and say, I've noticed this. Is there a reason why you're doing this? Is there a reason why you're moving this way? Is there a reason why you're making these decisions? I don't believe it's progressive. I don't believe it's
in your best interest.
I don't believe it's healthy for you. Let's address that. I think we should address that.
Is there anything I can do to assist you?
That's what I want. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not like, and that's something I want for my children. The one thing I would hate is for my sons, especially my daughter, to fall into a relationship with a dependent. I want them to have somebody that's going to speak those things into them. So I think that's important to have in a relationship, and I think that's a podcast topic or episode in of itself is the tough conversations.
Okay, we'll do that one.
Tough conversations
in the near future for sure.
Because tough conversations, I believe, can make or break a relationship, and not having tough conversations can actually break a relationship. The things that people are avoiding, the conversations that people are avoiding, because they're uncomfortable. They think, oh, this person ain't gonna like me no more. They're gonna leave me, or whatever the case may be. Those are things that are actually keeping you from reaching that next level in your life, not just your relationship. I'm sorry. Next question.
No, I like that.
That was way off where you started at, but I just got inspired to talk about that.
So this is a question for you.
Okay.
How did you know that you wanted to commit at such an early age? That was the same question I had for him too.
My certainty in committing at such an early age came from my lack of commitment at an even earlier age. So growing up without necessarily having stability, growing up without having the blueprint, as I've said before in earlier episodes. I always was able to conceptualize and picture in my mind what I wanted and what I thought a good, healthy relationship would look like. I always prayed for a wife. I didn't know how it would come, what it would look like. I didn't even know what I was supposed to do. I just wanted a wife. And I knew that it meant more than just walking down the aisle. I knew that it meant more than just, having something pretty to look at. But I always, from a young age, prayed for a woman who would be committed to me and invested in me. So when we got to the point where I'm like, oh, there she is, I wasn't sure how to do it because I didn't have the blueprint, but I always knew I wanted it. So even in our worst days, there was some small iota, some small part of me that was committed to making that happen.
So, context. We were 19 when he met. He was 19, excuse me.
Yeah, you were 26.
Correct.
Yeah.
7 years older. And he was 20 years old when he proposed the first time. I want to say 21 when he proposed the second time. And he was 23 when we got married. I was 30 when we walked down the aisle. So a 23-year-old walking down the aisle. We got to talk about the wedding episode, too.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you, the door is open. I see him standing at the altar, tears again.
Yeah.
That's been a running theme with us. Boo-hooing. And the tears didn't stop, all with the vows. I couldn't understand half of what he was saying. I was like, oh, Lord.
You're doing me dirty.
That was a very emotional day. That was a beautiful day.
It 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 was. Celebrating 10 years.
Didn't know what we was getting into.
No idea. We thought we did. We did premarital counseling.
We did. I was not a huge fan of the premarital counseling experience. Conversation for another day. But
yes!
I feel like... Because that's one piece of advice that I always give, like, my friends who are getting married or people I know that are talking about marriage. Always go to premarital counseling. But you have to balance it between your pastor and the practical world that we live in. Because a lot of pastors don't necessarily know how to do that. I think that we're blessed enough to have a pastor who does, like, every week, is making sure we practically understand the scripture that we're in.
Yeah, my pastor and our pastor first lady, both of them.
But not everybody.
Some of the classes.
Right. She leads the marriage boot camp. But not a lot of people have that gift. So a lot of it just feels like Bible thumping, which is what our premarital counseling kind of felt like to me.
Thus saith the Lord.
Right.
But what do you do with it?
Right. What do you do with it? How do you apply it practically is what was lacking. So.
And also, how do you apply it on the days you don't feel like it?
How do you? Yeah. Right. 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 So. Do we have more? I like this question and answer thing. Do we have more of this? We gotta
see. Oh, so this one is interesting.
Executive producer.
You mentioned having two small kids when you two met. How did the blending of the families go?
Oh, that is an excellent question.
It is.
That's a very deep, thought-provoking question that we'll have to get into next week on part 2 of the question and answer section. We're going to lead off with that question, I promise you. We will lead off with that question.
Yeah, we're going to run out of time trying to unpack all of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. But as always, if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with somebody. Like, follow, subscribe, and lock in with us, because this is an incredible journey that can definitely teach and definitely help somebody probably get out of a tough spot or get into the right spot. So,
and keep bringing the comments, questions. We love it. We love it. We love it. Feedback, yes, please. We want it all. So please, please, please keep engaging with us. We thank you for your time, for your energy. We appreciate and love you all.
See you next week, or in like 10 seconds when we actually record this. But we're not going to post it.
Stop doing that.
I'm sorry. First of all.